Stray Kids have the worst luck ever. Because what do you mean they've had a bullying scandal, a member leave 1 year into their career, pursue the most hated genre, and were even called the flops of JYP? But then how did they score 6 consecutive #1 spots on the Billboard 200, broke the record for the most album pre-orders, and became the second most streamed K-pop group in 2024 with 3 billion streams? There's actually one specific thing that no one talks about that has helped them grow like crazy, and it has nothing to do with the music. So how do you turn the worst K-pop music genre into the next trending song, and how do the individual members' brands play into that? First of all, let's take a quick look at who ate the luck and explore just how unlucky Stray Kids are. Stray Kids lean into somewhat of a pattern sonically, kind of focusing a lot for their title tracks on like trap, hip-hop, and EDM. And this ends up being labeled as noise music by uneducated and intentionally ignorant K-pop stans. So this fake noise music genre, because noise music is actually a genre, generally receives a lot of hate and backlash amongst K-pop stans. To put this into perspective, groups like New Jeans, LE SSERAFIM, Islet, they make songs that are widely enjoyed outside of their own fandom space. Like, a big percentage of their listeners aren't necessarily people that are heavily involved in standing those groups. Meanwhile, Stray Kids usually doesn't appeal to the general public. Most Stray Kids listeners aren't casual listeners. It's usually stays. And this is because of the music style that they choose to go for, that they enjoy going for their title tracks, which this gives them a disadvantage as they're choosing the path that isn't popular or trendy, and is even strongly disliked by a fair amount of people. This goes even stronger in Korea, where boy groups aren't as popular as girl groups, especially those that specialize in heavier genres. For example, ATEEZ, super popular internationally, not very popular at home. Wujun leaving caused the members a lot of stress and struggle with re-recording, re-choreographing, and reassigning song parts. Today, though, we're going to be looking at this from a bit more of a business perspective. The loss of a member caused chaos in the fandom space and surrounded the group with a dark aura for outsiders, causing all these theories to pop up as to why did he leave, that are even being debated to this day. The departure caused a reluctance in people considering joining the fandom to actually commit. Hyunjin's hiatus also weakened Stray Kids, as scandals usually do. And once again, it pushed away casual followers and potential stans from actually committing to the group. And it took a bit for everything to be cleared up, and until it was, Hyunjin's fan cams and hashtags took a toll, especially in Korea. Some brands like Clio even excluded him from promotions. What made this even worse was that Hyunjin was like one of the most popular members, if not the most popular member, tied with Felix. So until that situation was resolved, the group really took a big hit. Big hit. Despite this and a bunch of other struggles, how did they manage to outweigh the negatives with the positives? First of all, the bullying scandal was eventually resolved. Stray Kids started using hashtags of the number 8 after the Wujun scandal and did not mention him at all. Basically, they showed their fans that this really isn't a G-idol situation, and they want to be known strictly as 8. But what were some of the both intentional and accidental not well-known tricks used by JYP that made Stray Kids one of the most popular K-pop groups of our time, up there with names like BTS and Blackpink? One of the biggest success factors of Stray Kids is their usage of the golden member recipe. This idea has been on my mind for a while now when I'm analyzing groups. But if you've been here for some of my earlier videos, you probably heard of my 2 types of popularity idea. To kind of compare, you can think of the golden member recipe as an extension of the member popularity in my 2 different types of popularity idea. So the members of the group are one of the 2 big reasons a group can be popular. A group can become popular for its concept and sound, or its individual members. If a group's members are very loved and popular, they end up building a very big and devoted fan base. And then that fan base doesn't care what the group releases because they're gonna eat it up anyway. I don't know if you guys seen that meme where it's like me trying to enjoy my fave's new comeback. Even if you don't hate your favorite group's new release, you're more inclined to like a song from your favorite group than if that same song was from a group that you didn't care for. It's the emotional connection to the group, the members itself, that adds to the appeal of the song. I'm not saying groups with super popular members have garbage music. I'm saying that if you're able to build a huge fandom, your music has a higher chance of success even if it doesn't follow current trends. To have a perfect group member-wise, you have to follow the golden member recipe. The recipe consists of 4 ingredients, the first 3 being more minor, and then the last one being kind of like the nucleus, the most important part of the recipe. The first of the minor points is token talent. At least 2 members must have a token talent. Out of the 4 idol talent categories, vocals, stage presence, rap, and dance, you must have a person that is exceptionally good at one. They don't have to be the best in all of K-pop, but they have to be noticeably above average. The reasoning for this is that it not only brings the group traction for having a super talented member, but it also builds fan superiority and further obsession. Blackpink is the most perfect example of token talent. Not just that, but just for the golden formula in general, Blackpink is a great example. There are 4 members in the group, and each of them displays a token talent, some even 2 talents. Lisa is undoubtedly a dancing machine, but I would actually argue that her main token talent, is stage presence. Lisa is constantly, or at least when Blackpink was active, was constantly going viral with dance and performance clips. Next we have Rosé, our token vocalist. I think she even holds like the nickname of Golden Voice of Korea, which obviously brings a lot of attention to the group. After Rosé is Jennie, who is the token rapper of Blackpink. Now I know that Lisa is also a rapper in Blackpink, but Jennie has a bigger reputation in terms of rapping. She's more versatile, and she's like on the list of the fastest K-pop rappers, which gives her fans plenty of bragging material to work with. Basically, she brings more attention for her rapping. Bread delivery. Jisoo's the last member, and although she doesn't fall into any of the talent categories, she's able to play the role of the visual. She fits a good percentage of Korean beauty standards, and I have a whole nother video on her that you should check out. Even though your visuals aren't a talent, in the K-pop industry, it's practically counted as one. And in Jisoo's case, it acts the same way as the 4 idol talent categories do. So each member plays a distinct persona, and their token talent goes hand in hand with that persona. Blackpink is the group that delivers the golden formula the best, specifically in the last and most important category. And I'd argue that Stray Kids is the group that comes second. Stray Kids in general is a very complete group. There really isn't a department that they lack in. They have their dancer racha, vocal racha, and their 3 racha. And even though they lean rap heavy in a lot of their songs with Changbin, Han, Chan, Felix, and even Sungmin, and Hyunjin all rapping at one point, they don't lack in other departments. The thing with Stray Kids, though, is that on top of being complete, they still have their token talent members. Hyunjin is one of the legendary dancers of 4th generation. If someone's discussing the best dancers of K-pop, Hyunjin's name is going to come out of someone's mouth. Hyunjin gets crazy traction for his dance, and even though on a technical level, Lino is above him, Hyunjin's stylization, and very similarly to Lisa, his stage presence, give him a higher virality level. Being a token talent member isn't just about being really good, it's also about bringing in the attention. And Hyunjin does just that. You also have Changbin and Han, the token rappers. In terms of rapping virality, I'm gonna say that Changbin takes the crown for being the token rapper of Stray Kids, as he generally gets talked about more, especially in non-fan spaces. This is a lot of times because of his place as the fastest K-pop idol rapper. This, plus his favorite style of rapping, which is very loud and aggressive, catches the attention of a lot of people, and even catches the attention of K-pop stans who don't care about rapping. For Jisung, I'd say that his token talent virality is because of his position as an ace. He produces, writes, dances, raps, and can even sing. That is his kind of token thing, his thing that brings in the fans that are in awe of his talent. The next minor point is language. So this one's fairly simple. The group must have at least one fluent English speaker. K-pop has been getting more and more global over the years, and if K-pop idols want to build a fan base internationally, they need to be able to communicate with their fans. Why is there constructioning outside? And what better way than to have someone who can speak the global lingua franca to be part of the group? It is always bound to not only give us fan connection, but also one of those iconic, "Your English is so good, but I'm from Chicago" moments.
By the way, your English is phenomenal. Here we go. New album dropping at the end.
Speaking of funny, English idols are a lot of times from the West, which means they are accustomed with Western media and Western memes. Korean memes and, for example, American memes are generally very different and don't cross often. So when an idol references a joke that a Western fan would understand, it builds bigger love and connection to the idol. It can also bring a huge new following. Kiho from P1 Harmony is a really good example of this. For Stray Kids, they not only have 2 members that grew up in English-speaking countries, but they have 2 more members that speak really good and I think even fluent English. The third point is having members from multiple nationalities or members that have lived and studied abroad. This is similar to the English point, but a little bit different. Having multiple nationalities in the group not only grows fan bases internationally, for example, Lisa being super popular in Thailand, Twice J-Line being super popular in Japan. You can even say like the entirety of Twice is super popular in Japan because of how strong the J-Line's influence has been. As a K-pop group, having a song in a different language can actually bring you a lot of popularity. For example, Stray Kids' Japanese releases have built them a really big Japanese following, but being from said foreign country can bring you even more popularity. Besides this, though, having members with different nationalities builds the group lore or plot. Basically, fans now have more things to discuss, which causes more conversation and then in turn more popularity for an idol. Whether the topic of the talk is their struggles with leaving home, language bragging rights for stans, or cultural connection / inside jokes. Speaking of, a really good example is Carmen from Hearts to Hearts. She went super viral for this respectful Indonesian gesture that she did. I think it was on Music Bank. In Stray Kids' case, they have 2 Australian members and a British member. The most important part of the golden member recipe is nailing down character archetypes. K-pop is heavily built off of fan service and fan attachment. So to build a big fan base, you need to reach as many people as possible and get them attached. To truly connect to as many different people as possible, you need to have as many different members filling as many different character archetypes as possible. This is where Blackpink comes in as a perfect example. Each member is so different that it even negatively impacts their group performances, but in turn, it very positively impacts YG's wallet. Speaking of style, let me show you my outfit of the day. Each member is so different that they're able to attract completely different audiences. Basically, they're able to conquer almost all K-pop stans as there's at least one Blackpink member's archetype that you will fall for. They're kind of like the MBTI of K-pop. Don't tell me your zodiac sign, tell me your, I'm not wearing gloves. Don't tell me your zodiac sign, tell me your Blackpink bias. I'm going to talk more about them in this next segment, where basically I'm going to be explaining possible archetypes using some of the most popular K-pop groups as examples. But the thing is, these aren't just popular K-pop groups. These all follow the golden member formula to some extent. A quick disclaimer before we get into this part, I don't stan BTS or Twice, so if I get anything wrong about them, please let me know. But I did do a bunch of research, so everything should be accurate. So here are some of the best archetypes to include in your K-pop group. Having a parent and a leader figure in the group makes the group seem closer with each other and more like a family. And having the group seem more like a family builds the fan obsession and fan connection. Think about your own favorite group. You'd rather watch content of a group that actually seems like they have chemistry and a tight bond, right? In every successful group, there's always at least one member filling in one of these roles. This member also attracts an audience of people who are the mom or dad friend of their squad, of their friend group. So having that parental figure or that leader figure brings in this type of audience. Bonus points if you have a mom and dad member in the group. That way fans can start friendly platonic shipping and also not so friendly creepy shipping, which sadly both of those help the group business-wise. So getting into the groups, for BTS, we have RM as the dad and the leader figure. For Twice, we have Jihyo as the leader and Jeongyeon as the mom figure. For Blackpink, we have Jennie as the unofficial leader and Jisoo as the mother figure. And for Stray Kids, we have Banchan as the leader and dad figure and Lino as the mom figure. In every K-pop group, you must have the hot members and the cute members, two sides of the coin. This is one of the most common preference questions you can ask someone. There's that one variety show that I think they used to ask. I don't know if they do it anymore, but they used to ask K-pop idols do you like a hot guy or a cute guy? It's kind of like the two main generalizations you can put people under. So if you have both a hot member and a cute member in your group, you can attract a bunch of interest. For BTS and Blackpink, we have the cute boba-eyed magnes, Lisa and Jungkook. For Twice, we have the bubbly and childish Nayeon and Sana. And then for Stray Kids, we have the sunshine Felix. Another really popular and really loved archetype is the savage. For BTS, we have Suga. For Twice, we have Chewie. For Blackpink, you have Jennie. And then for Stray Kids, you have Seungmin. Another archetype that I've noticed that each of these groups have is kind of this cold, royal, sultry visual member. For BTS, you have V. For Twice, you have Mina. For Blackpink, you have Jisoo. And for Stray Kids, you have Hyunjin. These are the archetypes that are persistent throughout these insanely popular groups, but there are plenty of other archetypes that the rest of the Stray Kids members follow. Lino is recognized by a lot of stays as the tsundere of Stray Kids. IN has that low-key introvert vibe with an awkward charm. I like to think of it, there was this trend going around, loser trapped in a hot body. I think that describes his kind of vibe. Han is known as being the comedian of Stray Kids. Changbin is the tough gym rat rapper that's actually a sweet, soft guy. The thing with Stray Kids and their archetypes is that unlike annoying assigned personalities, throughout the years with content such as 2 Kids Room, 1 Kids Room, and Chan's Room, they were able to be themselves. And I'm not saying Stray Kids is showing us their absolute 100% true selves. No idol is. We don't know idols' true selves, and we never will. One of my pet peeves is when I'm watching a video talking about a scandal an idol got into, and people are like, my favorite idol would never. Your favorite idol probably would. You don't know them. This is an ultra over-processed industry. Fake emos are everywhere. But back to my point, Stray Kids has had opportunities to show their actual personalities, which means that their archetypes are more in-depth and not as shallow in comparison to someone who was forced by their company to act a certain way. For example, Han isn't known by the fandom as just the comedian funny guy of the group. He's also shown his talkative but introverted sides, his plethora of hobbies ranging from horror to anime, and even talked about his struggles with anxiety and mental health. Stray Kids aren't just forcefully assigned roles that lots of idols have to painfully carry out, but they are their in-depth personalities. From Hyunjin, the romantic and expressive visual that trained to be known for something other than his looks, to Seungmin, who behind his trickster antics is secretly very emotional and respectable. Simply put, you're bound to find one of the Stray Kids members' personalities relatable or admirable. It helps even further that Stray Kids seem to have some sort of unbreakable codependent bond with one another. I hate to put on my PD-nim glasses and look at what seems like their real personalities from a business lens, but Stray Kids having this really close bond is super beneficial for growing their audience. If you don't care for the music, stand them for the members and their family-like bond. The golden recipe has been one of the most helpful tactics of Stray Kids' success, but there are a lot of other obscure factors that played into their success. With the survival show, JYP didn't just sell us the idols, they sold us their sob story. Most survival shows are made to garner attention for a future group, but the Stray Kids survival show had a different premise. Can all 9 members debut together? This helped build that, as I mentioned earlier, family bond between the members and got the fandom even more attached. But what a lot of fans deemed as emotionally cruel behavior on JYP's part, it actually helped them gain kind of this underdog vibe. It brings interest to this hardworking and honorable group. And that's not to say that they didn't suffer. That's still the reason I haven't even gotten halfway through to the Stray Kids survival show because I don't want to cry. But we're looking at this from an evil entertainment company CEO perspective. The way the survival show was set up, built, and still to this day attracts an audience to Stray Kids. Vulnerability and showing some of your true emotions brings connection between people. And that's exactly what the survival show did. If you had to guess the most hated K-pop music style, the so-called noise music would probably take that place. The reason Stray Kids is actually successful with this style is the fact that it's not as unpopular as proactive antis make it out to be. A lot of K-pop stans who aren't familiar with the concept of opinions like to loudly hate on Stray Kids for their heavy trap, EDM, and industrial hip-hop inspired sound, claiming it to be objectively bad. The thing is, music genres that are on the heavier and louder side are actually incredibly popular. For example, the rock subgenre metal. Groups like NCT 127, aespa, and some older Blackpink and ATEEZ all have had a title track run of what K-pop stans consider noise music. Yet these groups are some of the top groups of their generations. For example, aespa is currently considered one of the most successful girl groups, and their specialty is subgenres of trap, hip-hop, and EDM. Supernova was the song of 2024, and it filled all the criteria for being noise music. No matter how loud antis are, and as someone who avoids hate and fan wars like the plague, I can still hear them, it doesn't change the fact that it's still a loved genre. Being a self-produced group, Stray Kids has played with their sound over the years, and I think around God's Menu era, they officially realized that that was the sound that they wanted to pursue for their title tracks. They decided that this is going to be their brand. They themselves have labeled it the Stray Kids style or the Stray Kids sound, and they themselves really enjoy making this type of music. This means that fans know what to expect from Stray Kids. I don't mean that you can easily predict the exact sound of their next song because they stick to their brand. They still like to play around. For example, Chick Chick Boom.
중적인 음악에서 스트레이키즈 한 스푼을 넣으려고 했다면은 그런 음악들을 만들고 나서 보니까 이건 좀 뭔가 스트레이키즈가 아닌 것 같은 거죠. 저희를 좋아해 주시는 팬분들한테 그 기대에 못 미치는 음악들일 것 같았어요. 그래서 다시 시작을 해서 저희가 한 거는 스트레이키즈의 음악의 그냥 대중 한 스푼 정도라고 생각을 했어요. 좀
Stays don't have a fear that their group will do a complete concept 180. Unlike other groups that are at the mercy of their music directors. Also, Stray Kids are one of the most musically diverse groups, and specifically for their B-sides, so to me, it makes no sense that people label them based off of one genre. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you in my next one.